Hey guys, it's Kyle from Central Texas Heart Center. Today I'm just going to make a short video to walk you through how to enter charges for auxiliary studies that we do. The studies I'm talking about would be EKGs, echoes, stress tests, how we enter those charges. So what I do is I'm going to open up the EHR, and we have it open. And so last video we created this encounter for test patient 5. Let's say test patient 5 had an EKG right here. So we have all of these templates already created within. We're going to create a new template here in our template. And I have saved my preferred list, card submit superbill 836. So I'll select this, and I can either double click or I can select it and press OK. And this will do a new template. So under this template, we are going to be able to build these different auxiliary studies. Most of the time, when a physician signs a note, it will build the corresponding and the correct, whether it's a new patient consult, a new patient non-consult, like a self-referral, or an established patient follow-up, and then what level, with 5 being the highest, what level of billing that visit correlates to. A lot of times when physicians sign their notes, these are done automatically. If not, if something is skew, which it happens, you can come in through this way with this card submit superbill, which is now over here, and charge the office visit this way. But what I'm talking about today is more of these auxiliary studies. So pacemaker checks in person, that's what PPM stands for. An ICD check, implantable loop recorder checks, EKGs, lipid profiles, whatever we're charging. So we're going to select a diagnosis. So for our patient, typically there'll be diagnoses present. Let's just say that the patient was here for establishment of cardiac care and they have a history of hypertension. So we don't come up with these diagnoses codes on our own. These are codes that the physicians have entered into the SOAP or elsewhere in the patient's chart. But once we have a code here, we can charge out the correct visit. So here we're going to go with, let's say they had an EKG when they came. You're going to click EKG. If you look down at the bottom, it'll show the date that it's done, and that date will correspond to the encounter. What you charged, this is called the CPT code, and then the diagnoses used. You can have more than one diagnosis. So additionally, there are other ways to charge auxiliary studies. This is going to be the simplest. So for pacemakers, you can select a dual chamber, a bi-V, or a single lead. But some of these change depending on how and when they're done. For example, with these pacemaker checks, if we have the Medtronic pacemaker rep come into clinic and check a device for us, we can't bill this full device charge. We have to put what's called a modifier onto it. So in order to bill the pacemaker check with the modifier, we're going to double click right here, go to procedure. Under this procedure code, we have the CPT codes right here that we're going to use. So once again, you click right next to procedure, go to procedure, it's 932, and let's use the example of a dual chamber pacemaker, 93280. You can press enter or search. And what we're going to bill is this one right here. It's a dual chamber pacemaker with a 26 modifier. So what that means is we do not get paid for checking it because the Medtronic reps checked it for us. And also that modifier populates down here as well. Also for diagnoses, click right here. And we have to have a payable diagnosis. So for a pacemaker check, you have to have the diagnoses presence of a cardiac pacemaker. Okay? And you go add, and then you're done. You can X out. So what you just did will populate right here. You can see your CPT code has a 26 on it. Alright, so this is the same way to bill venous closures for stabbed lobectomies. So to do it the same way, you double click again, For procedure, you type the appropriate procedure code, you select the procedure, and then select the pertinent diagnoses for that. So a lot of the physicians use this venous peripheral insufficiency. Double click, and then you click Add. I'm not going to add it here because I'm going to show you one more place that we could possibly bill this. So I've showed you this is super bill that we're now familiar with. Now, once you have the appropriate encounter selected, come down here and select this procedures icon, okay? Now under the procedures icon, you see the same things that have been billed under super bill. This is just another way to do it. So you click procedure, this dot dot dot, enter the appropriate procedure, select your diagnoses, and then click Add. It'll always ask you if the modifiers field is empty. Just say that's okay. So now that procedure has billed to their chart. A bonus of doing it this way, going to the procedures tab, rather than going to super bill, is when you go this way, you don't have to have a diagnosis present. So if the doctor doesn't have a payable diagnosis on the chart yet, you can bill it in this way, and then, so I'll show it to you, we'll bill an EKG. We can go ahead and bill this EKG in this way. Sorry, you enter the CPT code and then click search. So now I don't have a diagnosis, but it'll let me just go ahead and add it. And that EKG will only bill once we get a payable diagnosis from the physician. So when the physician signs his or her note, this EKG will also bill. Alright, so that's just a little insight into how to bill in NextGen. Thanks.